Your bad habits are the reason why you're broke. You already know how bad smoking and drinking is for you. But obviously, the health aspects isn't that important to you. You know, health, longevity, that doesn't matter that much, right? So let's talk about the money aspect then. If you don't have at least $10,000 in your savings, in your bank accounts, then you got no business smoking and drinking. If you're still smoking and drinking and don't have $10,000 in your bank accounts, that's the reason why you don't have $10,000 because you're smoking and drinking still. And I say that because that used to be me. I used to be scraping by paycheck to paycheck, but still have enough money for that weed. Back when I was living in Michigan, you know, weed was legal there. We had dispensaries all over the place. And it was just a lot easier to tell myself that this is the reason why I didn't have money. It was easier to say that this is actually why I am the way that I am. You know, I'm scraping by, I'm not making enough money, but yet I still had enough money to like buy 2 ounces a week, especially when they were on sale. You know what I mean? That doesn't make any sense. Those habits is what kept me broke. And it makes it so you can't even get ahead. So we can talk about how healthy it is all day long, but obviously that's why I said it's not that big of an issue for you because you all know how important being healthy is and how much you're poisoning yourself with smoking and drinking. So if you think about it, those bad habits are keeping you stuck exactly where you're at. And coming from a former addict, I used to be addicted to literally everything under the sun. I was smoking weed for like, I want to say like 16 years. You know, I started smoking when I was like 14, and I stopped smoking when I was like 31, you know, just because it was legalized, like I said, where I was living at. And it became normalized. You know what I mean? I was able to function just fine while I was smoking, even though I wasn't functioning at my best. I didn't even know what my best was. But I was working like 55 hours a week, making like $2,200 every 2 weeks for a paycheck. And we were basically like scraping by. I had a little bit in my savings, but like it was just enough to cover what I needed it to cover. And I was drinking every day. You know, on my ride home from work, I would get two tall boy, two hearteds every single night. When I was doing real estate, I would take my clients out for lunches, dinners, and we would have beers. You know, we'd have drinks, martinis. So it was no big deal. But that little stuff adds up, and we don't even realize how much it adds up. Say the weed, for instance. When I was still smoking, I was probably going through an ounce every 3 or 4 days. And at the bare minimum, if I was getting the ounce, the cheapest that I could for like $80, it's $160 a week. And if you're just smoking grams, then you're just gram. Like those things add up so much faster. And especially when it's the small amounts, you don't even realize how much it's adding up. Like the the grams, the pens, the packs of cigarettes, the 6 pack here. If you spend $60 a week, right? Just let's say $50 a week on either drinking or smoking. Make it easy. That's an extra $200 every single month that you're just literally blowing up in smoke, or you're just drinking, not even feeling good about yourself. When I stopped smoking, that's when I was finally able to invest in myself and actually make changes that helped me change my entire life. Now I live down here in Florida, way, way far away from where I used to live. My hometown is literally, it's DeWitt, Michigan. And then I moved to Saginaw, Michigan. Then we moved to Grand Rapids, just all over Michigan, right? I was born in Chicago, but all over Michigan. And now I moved 1,600 miles away. Now I got palm trees, living the life that I actually want to live because of the fact that I decided to beat my bad habits. It wasn't easy, but I'm going to give you a super simple way to actually do it. So you don't have to hit rock bottom, right? Because a lot of times, all you guys wait until rock bottom to finally make a change. You got to be fed up with where you're at. Fed up with the mediocre life that you're living. You say you're content, but you're out of shape. You say you're content, but you don't have money in the bank. You say you're content, but you can't go do the actual things you want to do unless you like save up forever. Cut way back on your things, and you have to save up for months and months just to go take a little trip. Say you're content, but yet you have kids that you hide your bad habits from. You don't want to smoke in front of the kids, so you got to make sure the kids are upstairs. You got to wind down at the end of the night so you have a glass of wine or you have some beers. And then you got a beer gut. Make it make sense. I'm jacked year round, 180 pounds, literally under 10% body fat year round, and I got well over $10,000 in the bank account. That's just mine, not even including Lacey's. And this obviously isn't a flex. Like that's literally no money at all, especially when you start talking to people with actual money. But it's all from stopping my bad habits. Before I got my first mentor, I made sure I did everything I could before I got his mentorship, so he wouldn't be able to tell me anything that I already knew. So my first mentor was all about breaking your bad habits. So I knew I had to break my bad habits before I got with him. I wasn't even able to afford him beforehand, but I was taking all the free information I could, just like you guys should be doing, taking all the free info that I could before I even got the mentorship so that I got as much value as I possibly could. Once I stopped my bad habits, I was finally able to start saving $160 a week, $200 a week. Very quickly, I was able to get together $15,000 cash to invest in him. That's the power of stopping your bad habits. I see so many people complaining they're paycheck to paycheck, they're not making any money whatsoever, they don't have enough money for this, can't afford this, can't afford that, but yet they still find the money to smoke some weed, to go out on the weekends, drink. And you already know, if you're going out on the weekends, if you're going, unless you're going to Applebee's Dollar Drinks or whatever, which I know you guys are not doing, it adds up so fast. I know you're not stiffing the bartenders, especially for my guys out there. You guys are probably trying to, let's be honest, you're probably trying to flex and give them a good tip, hopefully for some odd reason, thinking that it's going to correlate to them having any sort of anything with you. Not going to happen. They do not find it attractive for people to go to bars, meet them at the workplace, get drunk, and buy drinks all night. It's not attractive. I guarantee you don't even have the body type that they think is attractive. Because you would rather spend your time at a bar rather than under the bar. Your bad habits are keeping you broke. It's as simple as that. If you don't have $10,000 in the bank, you have no business smoking and drinking. Just the simple fact. If you're complaining about your circumstances, you got no business smoking and drinking. Make it make sense. You're coping and you have terrible coping mechanisms. There's much more productive ways that you could be. You could journal. You could actually figure out why you're feeling the way that you're feeling. You could get active. You could actually get those good emotions going. You could work through your emotions with physical activity. Anytime you're feeling negative, easily you can bring your vibration, bring your energy up by doing physical activity. Anytime I was stressed, I either do push-ups, some bodyweight movements, or I just go hit the gym, maybe go do a run, feel 100 times better. It's simple. But every time that I would feel anxious or I would feel stressed or feel some sort of negative way and I instead smoked or I went drinking, for one, the rest of my night is completely blown. I'm done. I'm done for the rest of the night. And then once I start drinking, I'm probably going to start smoking. And especially once I start drinking, I'm definitely not going to go to the gym. If I did go to the gym, I wasn't going to have a good workout. And then as I got older, of course, as I was drinking, the next day I felt like shit. So why is it that I'm not happy with myself? So I go drink. I go run to a substance, really, because I was weak mentally. And then the rest of my night is written off because I can't really do anything productive. So I'm probably just chilling on the couch, watching Netflix or playing games. And then Also, I'm probably staying up late because now I'm chilling. And then the next day, I feel like shit because I'm hungover. So the majority of that day is a write off. Once you start actually caring about your physical body, your actual health, how you look, once you start getting into the gym and start seeing progress, you're going to quickly realize that as you're drinking, it's ruining your progress as well for a couple of days. But if you can't look in the mirror and just love everything that you see in the mirror and then you go drink, you're just making it worse. They call it a beer gut for a reason. Don't take the easy way out. It's always going, some things are always going to happen, but we have to have the mental fortitude to be able to figure out what the productive ways to handle the situation is. We don't need to run to substances for coping mechanisms. We need to create our own productive coping mechanism. Like I said, journaling, figuring out why you're feeling the way that you're feeling, and how you can feel differently, what needs to be done to feel differently. And physical exercise always helps. There's not a time where you're going to actually feel negative about something, journal and work out, and you're going to feel worse. It does not happen. But there is hella times where you feel bad about something and then you go drink and mistakes are made and then you feel worse. That happens literally all the time. And again, I used to be there. I smoked for literally 16 years. I was addicted to ecstasy. I didn't even know I was addicted to drinking, but I was drinking all the fucking time. I got addicted to prescription pills, Xanax, Vicodin. I've been addicted to like everything under the sun. That's why I know that sobriety is the way. Once you get sober, once you finally beat these bad vices, now you can actually start living life the way it's supposed to be. Not with a clouded vision, becoming your best self and actually finding purpose in life. You don't have to run to something to fix it. You don't have to run to a substance because we're actually stronger than that. We are not weak. We have the tools inside of us. We just have to decide it. And when I was selling ecstasy, I had bread. I definitely had money. But I was buying everything all the time. I was buying whatever I wanted to. I had no control over my actual impulses. I was lit all the time, buying hundreds of pills. I was buying ounces at a time, blowing it. Literally, I was just like, money didn't even matter because it didn't. Nothing mattered besides how I felt in that current moment. That's what we have to get away from. Just because you had a stressful day doesn't mean you need to run to a substance to get it fixed. If you want to make more money, if you want to have more money, you need to get your mentality in order and your habits locked in. No longer spend and waste money on stupid things that aren't serving you whatsoever. There's no reason to literally poison yourself, drink your money away, put it up in smoke, and then complain that you don't have enough money at the end of the week. Start saving your money by not doing these substances that you don't need. Stop wasting your time on things that aren't helping you with anything. Start spending your time, investing your time in yourself, investing your money in yourself, and watch your life start to get better, start to get happier. You start to get healthier, you start getting more money, you start attracting better people around you because, again, a lot of the friends that you think are your friends right now really aren't your friends. You guys just have a substance that you connect on. You have a mutual activity that you guys connect on that probably isn't even productive. Once you find friends that are actual winners, I promise you, they're not sitting around smoking in circles. They're not passing blunts to each other. We're talking about business ideas. We're at the gym together. We're not going to the bar together. We might go out to dinner together, but I guarantee you, we're not putting back shots. We're not putting back beers because we want to be mentally sharp to continue to think about ideas. We're closing people in the DMs. We're creating new business ideas, and we need our mindset for that. We don't need to be drunk for that. We don't get more creative when we're drunk. We like to make videos that actually help people, and you're not going to do that when you're lit. And even if you don't want to do this kind of thing, you're not showing up as your best version of yourself when you're lit. I know for a fact, more mistakes are made, your reaction time's slower, you can get in way more accidents, you spend a lot more money that you don't need to, all while getting lit. Again, if you do not have the money that you want, if you do not have the life that you want, 'cause we just talked about money stuff because obviously the health and the lifestyle isn't enough for you guys. Because if it was, you wouldn't be watching this video. Do not be the one to have to hit rock bottom before you make a change. See what other people have done and learn from their mistakes. If you hit rock bottom, I will tell you, sometimes there's no coming back. Sometimes it is literal death. Sometimes it's a life sentence, like I almost got. That's what made me change. I was an addict, I was a gangbanger, and I almost got a life sentence when I was 17. And I knew I can't do drugs anymore. I cannot be this type of person. But obviously, I went through probation, and then as I became adult, drinking was available, and then I have a very addictive personality, so that's where I had to learn that new monster. But I'm seeing a lot of people know they shouldn't be doing something and still continue to do it because things haven't gotten quite painful enough yet. It's not quite bad enough yet. And I'm here to tell you, you do not have to wait until it gets so bad it's unbearable. There is something that you can do, and that is connect the worst possible scenario with that negative action. So if it is you drinking and you don't want to drink anymore, connect drinking with becoming an alcoholic and think about all the bad things that happen with being an alcoholic. Losing your family, losing your house, becoming fat, dying, literally all these different things. Same things with smoking. Consider smoking being a drug addict. A drug addict who could end up on the street somewhere because they cannot stop getting their fix. All the negative situations with it, connect that with that action. And make sure that you become so disgusted with that past version of yourself that you will never go back to that. And you will do whatever it takes to become your next best version. Once you finally actually concrete that, you will make that change. All it takes is like 3 to 5 days of dedicated action to saying no and finding a productive switch, like doing push-ups, like journaling, like getting busy, cleaning around the house, just doing whatever you can to get your mind off that action that makes you want to use. Idle minds always go towards their vices. So do something, make the decision to quit, and then find productive things that you can do that's going to benefit you. Work out, journal, clean the house, work on your business, start making videos, do something creative that you actually have been wanting to do, but you just have been too scared to do. If you do that, your life is going to change for the better. You're going to have more money, you're going to be healthier, you're going to be happier, you're going to have more energy, you're going to feel better about everything, you're going to connect better people in your life, and you might even find the love of your life. I hope this helped. Hope this resonated with you. I have a bunch of free videos on my Instagram, obviously, tons of free information. Go there if you want to learn how to become your best self. Answer all my DMs if you ever want some actual specific help. And if you are ready to take that next step, click that first link in the description and I will personally reach out to you. You'll get connected with me and I'll see where you're at right now, where you're trying to go, and how I can help you. I appreciate you so much. I love you all. You can do this. I promise you. If I can do it, you can do it too. I'll see you next time. Let's grow together.